Today, we're looking at Diamine's Midnight. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, Diamine's Midnight is a blue-black ink. And to make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I put the ink into a different pen for a day. I then put it into a Lamy All-Star with a 1.1 stub to take my notes for this video. Now, before we get to the writing samples, let's look at the sciencey bits. Up first is a chromatography, and I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down, immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. We see the blue pushing straight up the filter paper as very light. It gets much darker at a point, and just across the top as a line, you do see some black, or it's super dark blue. Now the one on the right I let dry for 10 minutes before dunking it into water. And the blue line across the bottom where I put it down is much darker and much more there. It also appears that there's kind of a gray line just above it. Then we see the light blue push up, the dark blue come back, and that very kind of black line across the top. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it might be to clean from your pen. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it handles it fairly well. I want to call it good enough. That extra fine becomes more like a medium, but it doesn't blur out and become unreadable. But it does affect the color of the yellow in that highlighter that's going down. Just something to be aware of. Water is all that it is going to take to get this out of your pen. Looking at it, this is only 30 seconds that I put the drop down. Now it reactivates and lifts most, but then look across the top of it and you start to see some of the white of the paper. So with only 30 seconds, it's getting most all of this ink up. Given a little bit more time, that's all that would be needed. Now Pen Flush did everything that water did and really nothing more, so the extra chemicals aren't accomplishing anything for you. And bleach obliterates it, but do not use a 1/3 bleach solution to get this ink out of your pen. Now for the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Diamine's Midnight has a viscosity of 2.42, making it almost average. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done with the extra fine and medium nib on Clairefontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Diamine's Midnight has an average dry time of 17 seconds, making it not just normal, but average. Now, let's look at the writing samples. I picked this ink up in sample form, and to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X 450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X 750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at Clairefontaine. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It's a great, great dark blue that hints at spots of black. It is fantastic. The extra fine is a slightly lighter tone, just barely lighter, and it's great for that reason. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. It took 10 seconds to dry. The medium it goes back to the darker tone that we get with the 1.1 with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It took 17 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby for both the extra fine and the medium showed no color variation. We didn't expect it and we didn't get it. Tomoe River has no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather, spread, halo, sheen, shade, nothing. Just a beautiful color. Just, wow. Extra fine, same tone that we got with the 1.1, with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 17 seconds to dry. Gorgeous to look at. Medium,
Same tone all the way through here. No feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade in 25 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both showed us no color variation. We didn't expect it and we didn't get it. And the smear test says you don't get to recover that. Sorry, that's just a goner. Rhodia dot pad gave us no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 gave no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. Same exact tone with the extra fine, with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It took 12 seconds to dry. The medium, the same exact tone again, which is great. When you have a great color and it doesn't change at all, that's fantastic. I like that consistency. I want it to be able to be that way, to be that kind of a boring blue-black that is great to look at. Medium is no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 18 seconds to dry. The extra fine and the medium scrubby both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it. And the smear test, you could likely recover it. So yellow rhodia gives us no bleeding, no ghosting. We weren't really expecting it. The color, to me, is a little disappointing here. It's not as nice. It lightens it up some. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. The extra fine has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It took 12 seconds to dry. It's the same tone into the medium with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 18 seconds to dry. Scrubby showed us no color variation. We didn't get any. In a smear test, you could still recover it. I just think this color itself here is a little disappointing. Trying to help this limon come along. I got bad feelings and bad things happened. Lots of bleed through. It did not touch the page underneath. It did not, or you could not use the back of this paper. Lots of ghosting. The 1.1, there's spread, there's feathering. I'm going to leave it at that. Ew. No halo, sheen, or shade. The extra fine, there's no feather or spread. There's no halo, sheen, or shade. 5 seconds to dry. The medium, there's feather and there's spread. There's no halo, no sheen, no shade. 10 seconds to dry. I got to get off this paper because it hurts to look at. Extra fine and medium scrubby both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it. We didn't get it. In a smear test, you could recover it. And the G Lalo, no bleeding, no ghosting. Nice gray tone. Wondered what happens. It makes it a very blue-black. It makes a blue-black I don't care for because it's too blue or too black. Don't care for it here. The 1.1 gives no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It's performing perfectly well. Same tone with the extra fine. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It only took 5 seconds to dry. The medium, it gets darker. It looks a little nicer. It's still very much a kind of color here. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It took 11 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both showed us no color variation. We didn't expect it. We didn't get it. In the smear test, you wouldn't be able to read what you wrote if you smeared it. And that is all that I have for the writing sample.
Instead of finding inks that look like Diamine's Midnight, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I've chosen Krishna's Njaval because it is a very nice magenta ink. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I would ask, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. So what do I think of Diamine's Midnight? I think it's perfectly named. It's such a dark blue with hints of black that it does seem like if you're outdoors in a moonless night, that kind of darkness that you can experience. And this is a perfect shining example of blue-black inks and what makes them so nice to use. Thanks for watching.